What was the result of Abimelech's surprise attack on Gael? This is the question that we seek to answer today as we continue our verse-by-verse study of the book of Judges on Walking Through the Bible. Today we're going to be discussing Judges 9 verses 34 to 41, but before we do that, let's read the passage. If you have a Bible with you, you can turn to Judges chapter 9 verse 34, but if you don't have a Bible, don't worry, just follow along with us on the screen. The version that we'll be reading from is the New King James Version. So Judges chapter 9, beginning at verse 34. So Abimelech and all the people who were with him rose by night and lay in wait against Shechem in 4 companies. When Gael the son of Ebed went out and stood in the entrance to the city gate, Abimelech and the people who were with him rose from lying in wait. And when Gael saw the people, he said to Zebul, "Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains." But Zebul said to him, "You see the shadows of the mountains, as if they were men." So Gael spoke again and said, "See, people are coming down from the center of the land, and another company is coming from the diviner's terebinth tree." Then Zebul said to him, "Where indeed is your mouth now, with which you said, 'Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him?' Are not these the people whom you despised? Go out, if you will, and fight with them now." So Gael went out, leading the men of Shechem, and fought with Abimelech. And Abimelech chased him, and he fled from him, and many fell wounded to the very entrance of the gate. Then Abimelech dwelt at Arumah, and Zebul drove out Gael and his brothers, so that they would not dwell in Shechem. Abimelech has reigned over Israel, at least northern Israel, for about 3 years now. His reign would not be like that of Saul, David, or Solomon, because for one, God didn't make him king, and two, his rule was more like a dominion or an influence rather than a firm rule over the entire nation. Abimelech was of course Gideon's son, but from Gideon's concubine from Shechem. This meant that Abimelech's father was from the tribe of Manasseh, while his mother was from the tribe of Ephraim. This latter fact is how Abimelech was able to convince the men of Shechem to make him king in the first place. But the former fact is later how Gael, a man who came to Shechem, convinced the Shechemites to finally rebel against Abimelech. For how could they allow someone to rule over them who was not truly their kinsman? Now before this happened, the relationship between the men of Shechem and Abimelech had deteriorated, because it is said that the Lord sent a spirit of ill will among them in order to avenge the killing of Gideon's family by Abimelech and the men of Shechem. God didn't make these men evil. However, he did use their already evil character against them. Now Zebul, who was the ruler of Shechem, had sent word to Abimelech that basically a coup was forming, and he needed to come with his men to put an end to it. He told Abimelech to come at once with his men and lie in wait during the night in the field. That would have been near the valley between Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. Then in the morning, rush the city, catch them by surprise, and when Gael and his men come out to fight, you can deal with them properly. Sounds like good advice. How did it work? Well, in the beginning, it worked out pretty well. Abimelech had divided his men into 4 companies and lay in wait in the field overnight. Then in the morning, when Gael came out and stood in the entrance at the city gate, Abimelech and his men rose to attack. At first, when Gael saw the people, he told Zebul that there are men coming down from the tops of the mountains. Zebul basically said that he must be seeing things, for you're seeing the shadows of the mountains who are looking like men. Remember, it was morning, near sunrise. The city of Shechem was situated just east of these mountains, and so in the morning sun, there would have been shadows caused by the sun on those mountains. Zebul knew better, though, but he was using this as a delay tactic. However, Gael soon realized that that was not the case, for now he was seeing men coming down the center of the land, in other words, the valley between the 2 mountains, and from the direction of the tree where the soothsayers used to divine from. Zebul's response here is rather snarky, for he says, "Where's your mouth now, when you said, 'Who is Abimelech, that we should serve him?' Are not these the people you despised? If indeed you are so strong, go out and fight now and claim your victory." Zebul, in other words, was telling Gael to put his money where his mouth was. It was easy to ridicule Abimelech when Abimelech was not present, nor when Gael actually had to fight him. If Gael wanted to rule, he would have to act like a ruler and fight for his people. And to his credit, Gael actually took some men from Shechem and went out to fight. But they lost. In fact, they lost pretty badly, and Gael would actually flee from the battle rather than allow himself to be killed. In the end, Gael didn't have what it took to be ruler of Shechem. He was just all talk. Abimelech, however, didn't come back and take the city. He and his company went to Arumah, an unknown town to us, likely not too far from Shechem, as this story will continue on from here. Zebul was the one who drove out those of Shechem who had obviously come with Gael, so that they could no longer have any influence there. This was a victory for Abimelech, but it was going to be short-lived, for there is more to this story, which we will cover beginning in the next lesson. With that, our time is up for today. The Lord willing, we hope you'll join us for tomorrow's discussion of Judges chapter 9, verses 42 to 49, as we continue our walk through the Bible, one verse at a time. Thank you for watching today's episode. We hope that you found it edifying and ask that you not only subscribe to our channel and podcast, but that you like and share this episode among your friends, so that the saving gospel of Jesus Christ can go out to the whole world.